Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Get Rich 101. I'm your host, Sacred Rights, and here is my book, my most recent book, Hack Your Pain Now. Hack Your Pain Now. If you haven't picked it up yet, go pick it up. Go pick it up. All right, so most of you saw the intro. Let's get Dad back out here. Let's give him a nice little drum roll. Ashe.
Hey,
How you doing, Pop?
I'm doing well. Good morning, all.
Good morning. I'm gonna change our background. Give it a little
Okay.
more. Yeah, there we go. Give it a
There
little
it
more.
is.
A little more jazz. A little more jazz. Okay. So, let me finish my intro. Thanks for New Thought Media Network for giving us this opportunity to grow and to shine. You've been a great help to me. I appreciate you. And I am not a trader, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Take what I say with a grain of salt. All right. All right, those two things taken care of. So I got to say something right quick. So I was doing my usual daily hustle, which means I was doing my stocks right before the show. They open at 9:15, 9:30. They open at 9:30. So that gives me 15 minutes to play between 9:30 and 9:45. And I got to tell you, I got one. Well, I did something I've been doing regularly. I have been buying and letting it go. When it goes down, I'm thinking, let's hope. Let's hold out hope. Let's hold out hope. It'll turn back around. But when it goes up, I just grab it and go, right? And so I need to inverse those two. Because I end up. So this morning, I ended up with $2.50 negative. But before that, yesterday, I ended up with something like 56 cents positive. So I got to inverse that. So any thoughts on that before we go on, Dad?
No.
Okay.
You're the man.
All right. So tell me a get rich secret for today, and then we got some things we can get into. So what's your get rich idea for today?
Well, I would say hold them longer than you have been doing. And kind of, I guess, it's a risk. So, I mean, you ought to roll with it for a minute and not turn it over so quickly. Whatever it is.
Turn it over to who?
Turning over meaning to sell.
Oh, okay. All right. So hold it for longer.
Yeah.
Before you sell.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good advice. And I wanted to circle back because I got some questions from the viewers from last time. They wanted to know what we talked about in terms of the cars. Because last week you mentioned I talked to you about money in terms of cars, and they were like, "Well, what did he say? What did he say?" And I was like, "I don't remember what he said." So I'm asking what I said.
Well, what I remember is we were talking about cars generally, and I remembered, and your mother remembered your first car. We were not talking about your first car initially, and your first car was a yellow, a canary yellow Volkswagen. And we didn't start off talking about that. And in that car, you had a whole legacy of history.
Yeah.
Mainly, well, it could have been negative. I guess it was generally negative, but it turned out to be positive. I mean, nothing negative really happened other than attitudes and a kind of negative experience.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. But let me just point this out. What I remember from that experience, from the police rolling up on me when I was sitting in my first car, is that, well, two things. One is
Okay.
that my Morehouse College sweater saved me. My
Mm-hmm.
Morehouse College sweater saved me because their energy was very, very energetically negative. But one of them saw my Morehouse College sweatshirt and asked me if I was in school, and that's what turned everything around. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Morehouse. Shout out to this sweatshirts. Yeah, hey man, you helped me out. You guys helped me out. Morehouse College sweatshirt. And I remember that, and I also remember there was this group. This was right after the pandemic. Well, during the pandemic, and they asked me to come and speak about the incident. And they were so fascinated because it was their first car, because it was my first car.
Okay.
And they were confounded by that because they were like, this is your first car, and to have that happen to you, your first car, it really shook them up because they had first cars before. They remember what it was like to sit in the car for the first time, and so that really shook people up. Yeah, so that was a good, a good. Eh,
A positive spin at the end, and the real deal is there is recognition, whether you know it or not, in observation. Like the experience that I had, and I told you about it the last time.
yeah,
My car was stolen,
right,
and the police found it. It was an antique car in A1 condition with new Michelin tires.
hmm,
They assumed that for all of that, I had to be something in the underground world,
right,
or a drug dealer.
right,
As it turned out, the deputy of that division knew me. We had
yeah,
a personal experience, and he said,
right,
"Hell no, that ain't right. I know this guy.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
clean, and that's his car.
right,
Get it to him." And they did.
right, yeah,
But I didn't know any of that until he told me.
wow, yeah, that's great. And speaking of your way, parting things in front of you, guess what B King discovered around the house? Guess what she discovered around the house? Dun, dun, dun.
Hey.
Hey, B King found this, and she was started reading it, and I was like, "Hey, that's my dad. Hey, that's, And and look at this. He pulled this out today. She's like, "Oh my God, is that your dad?" It's like, "Yeah, that's him. That's
Yeah.
him." Yeah, yeah. So this, for those of you who don't know, it's called "Building a Model Black Community: The Roxbury Action Program." So this is a book, I assume, about your nonprofit, the Roxbury Action Program, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And Highland Park, Roxbury, Massachusetts.
okay. Now tell me about it. Like why are you building a model black community? Like, why was that the thing that fixed you, that made you, charged you, that got you going?
Well, I guess in part it was we were born really on Blue Ave, where there were several agencies, and we were double and or triple or more serving the same people. It was duplication beyond, well, they call it on steroids. So we moved to a neighborhood that was in need, and people who had been there for a while were running and selling their houses where they thought it was a good price, like $7,000, $8,000. When now you need $1 million to live in that neighborhood.
Wow.
So that's where we were. That's where we went. And since we were there, only us, in terms of a nonprofit organization and there to serve, we wanted to create a model, something that people could remember and be proud of, that they're living in. And most of that happened.
Mm. Okay.
But the reality is, for those who left, can't get back.
Really?
no.
Okay. Okay. And are there people who stayed in the community?
Oh yeah, for sure. Uh,
Okay.
Owners and tenants.
And they came through the Rocks for Action program.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And so the organization today still exists. So what does it do now? Like what's its purpose? Like first of all, this nonprofit has existed like 50 years, right? It's like
50 plus.
50 plus.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. And so what is it doing now? Like what's happening?
Well, it really has become an enabler. I mean, it's helping others individually and corporately to do what they want to do within the neighborhood. And recently, as you know, you're on the board of this organization, so don't
Wow.
dumb me up on me, okay?
Wow.
They just purchased a church that was a part of the Marcus Garvey movement, and they are planning to have space within it to serve as a community. Though it may be that that will be sold, but even if it is, there will be space uh, that's a part of the church that will get developed, and hopefully the permanent RAP headquarters will be in that space, a part
Really?
of and next to the church.
Wow. That's really cool. That's really cool. All right. And so I didn't so my memory, I forgot that I'm a board member of the organization. That's very cool. That sounds very important. And
It is.
yeah. And and I asked Malcolm yesterday when was the next meeting. So I'm gonna be there at the next meeting. I'm gonna be there at the next meeting and get to participate in these things. Now, are you still part of the organization or no?
As an advisor.
As an advisor. Okay.
Occasionally, he calls me often, comes by, as you know. He's become one of my sons. So I got
Yeah.
several sons. I don't have any daughters, but I got a lot of sons. And, you know, when he feels a need, he'll ask me to either communicate with him or come to the board and do it with the board. But as generally, I'm no longer officially a part of the organization.
Wow. Wow. Such a legacy. Such a legacy. And this book, is this still available?
No.
Okay.
That's one of the few copies. You ought to hold on to it.
Really?
And matter of fact, Malcolm might need a copy of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And the guy who wrote it, I mean, the author has passed on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We need to do a new version of the book. We need to put it out again. Make
There
sure
you
people
go.
can get it. Yeah. We can get it. I can help with that. I can help with that.
Great.
Yeah.
But you know, good and bad and normal things happen on the golf course. I played golf a lot this week. On Sunday, I played with my grandsons and one of your older brothers.
Oh, really?
On Tuesday, I played with my guys, and Thursday, yesterday, I played again, but only half a round. I got exhausted. But the good news is, I ran into a guy I knew that who used to run the Urban League of Boston. Turns out that he's a resident not only of Highland Park. I didn't know that, but he is a resident on the street that the church is on, Hawthorne Street.
Wow. Wow.
And he's on his way to the Democratic National Convention, and he's a delegate. He says he'll be representing Roxbury.
Wow. That's great. That's great. That's great. And was he familiar with the organization? Did he know
yeah. That's why, you know, he told me about why he couldn't be at the, we had kind of like a cookout. I was there and to meet some of the neighbors. And, you know, he said he couldn't be there. He had something else to do. And that's how he started the conversation. He was happy that RAP had a new headquarters.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like something that could be beneficial to other communities outside of Roxbury, outside of Boston. Any thoughts about expanding it to other cities?
Well, when I left RAP, I went to it was a national program, National Neighborhoods Association in Washington,
Mm.
and that was the purpose to observe other organizations and make suggestions and recommendations and at the like. And I was a part of that. And we went to several cities and several organizations. And primarily, they were kind of stuck with what they were doing. They were not interested in available to try or to try new things. So it could be a model, but it's not a national model that people were willing to accept at least 20 years ago.
Wow. That's so interesting because it makes me think about where people are and
Yeah,
how once people get set on their track, you can't move them from their track. They stay on that track.
that's
You
right.
know?
That's
And
right.
other ideas come that are better, but they stay on their track and they don't see other things.
That's right. And the people have different experiences. Like we always encourage tenants to become homeowners, and some
Mm.
did, but not many. I mean, they were comfortable being a tenant,
Well,
and they were tenant to a good landlord. Roxbury Action Program.
wow. That's interesting too. That of the large group of people that you worked with, only a few of them sought to become owners themselves.
That's right.
And
And really, that's a disappointment. I mean, I wish we could have done that better.
yeah, yeah, but again, it's about where people are,
Yeah,
and what they can see is based on what they've experienced. And
that's
that's
right.
you talked about other things, they stay right here. They look and
He said, well, like in public housing, for an example, the tenants had to take responsibility of cleaning the hallway or the public areas. And some didn't and some did. But, we said in our buildings, it was never more than about 4 stories. You need to clean the hallways and kind of help with the yard and the grass, and they're happy to do that, but they are not happy and interested in becoming a owner,
mm.
a land, a personal house owner.
Did any of those people express regret after seeing what happened with the people who did own, who did
Oh
choose to
yeah,
own?
oh yeah. They understood it. Times passed. It was too late. They
Yeah.
couldn't, as I said, people who owned and sold had to go someplace else. I mean, had a plan to go someplace else, and they did. But if they wanted to come back to Highland Park, they couldn't afford it.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So the people that owned, wait a minute. So the people that were renting, were they able to stay or no?
Oh yeah, yeah,
They were able
yeah,
to stay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what we did. We made it possible for people to stay.
Okay.
With the national program of subsidized housing.
Okay. And the people that became owners, what happened with them now? Did they sell and move out?
Yes, some of them
Mm.
did. So they thought, just like in the beginning, people were running because they thought it couldn't go any further, could do anything but go down, continue to go down. As it
Wow.
turned out, we moved in and it went up.
Went up. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's fascinating. Yeah, that's fascinating.
That's why I said you ought to hold,
You want to hold?
like the poker players.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, with the stocks.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta inverse it. I gotta hold the other way. I gotta hold the other way. Yeah. Thanks for that. But yeah, that's really interesting. And such a great, I don't know, um, a great like I don't know the words for it, but you've done so much for the community as a whole, and now what? Like what's happening now? Like, are you're advising the Ross Reaction program? Are you interested in doing something else? Are you interested in talking to other people? Like, what's your plan?
No, I'm done.
You
Um,
got
you have a new leader, another brother of
yes,
yours, Malcolm,
yes.
and you guys need to carry the torch. Move it
Oh,
on.
okay, okay. Yeah, move it on. Move it on. Move it on. All right, we'll do that. I'll do that. Okay, so let's see. What else do we want to talk about? What else did you want to talk about, Pop?
Eh,
Uh,
I think that's it. We could talk about anything, but in terms of the week, it was a good week. And hopefully, that contact. It turns out Malcolm knows the guy. His name is Donnell Williams.
okay,
And Malcolm, I encourage him to sit down with the guy. He has contacts, got a lot of people. We'll meet more at the national convention and see where that goes. See how that can be helpful to the institution so that they can do more things for the neighborhood.
yeah, right. And fascinating also how golf has played such a big part of this. Like it's
Yeah.
been a big part of your life. And talk to me about how these connections are made because you just ran across them, right? Like, you know,
Well, you never know. Golf is like a blind date in some cases.
really?
You get a tee time, or somebody else gets a tee time. If you don't have a full party, I mean, you match you put into a group by the pro shop. For an
Okay,
example, if there are just two of us uh, with the tee time, and the pro shop would add another two, so that makes it a foursome. That's a full house in terms of going off to play. And you don't know who these people are, and they don't
right,
know who you are, but you meet and you talk on the golf course.
right.
And sometimes, it turns out there are people that are very interested in what you're doing and can help you have other contacts. Sometimes, they're just terrible golfers, and you're happy to be in for this round to end. But when I was working, this is after golf, I was a consultant. My best deals were made on the golf course.
What? Like they're showing it in the movies on TV. Yeah,
Yeah. People are relaxed. They have no meetings to run to at least for 4 hours. For a round of golf, and you're able to communicate.
really.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it? Let me ask this though: is there any room for doing bad on the golf course, and still making those connections?
Well, it's it's a catch can. You don't know what's going to happen, but if it's planned and you got a foursome and you know who's going to be playing, that's one thing. If it's a partial foursome and you kind of blended with people, sometimes that's terrible. I mean, they don't play golf well. They don't have good golf manners. But you usually, or I usually play through. Sometimes I join another group, but it is not always great. This is what I'm trying to convince you of. But it's better than most things, and it's just 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
So you're saying you can put up with it for 4.5 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, there's your finger going off. Yeah. Um, well, that's interesting. You didn't get that part?
No.
Okay. So, so that's interesting, and more than I thought, honestly, about golf and how you pull these things together. And so you said that your best deals were made on the golf course. Give us an example of one deal that got done on the golf course.
Well, it's kind of uh, a combination of things.
Okay.
I went, as you know, to Northeastern University. Uh,
Yes.
didn't know the current president. Didn't know the vice president. I knew professors and students, and and I graduated. And was running rap. Uh, One of my friends who was an artist, um, fine arts, and also kind of the chief of security for some of most of our national or local marches. Dr. King came to town and so forth.
Mm.
He came to me one day and said, if you could do, I don't remember what, um, this or that, would you be interested? I said, well, I don't know how to. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the wherewithal in terms of the need, the resources is the right
Hmm.
word to do that. He said, but if you could had that, would you do it? I said, sure, but where would I get the resources from? He said, the president of your former university want to meet with you. I said, okay, bring him on. He brought him to my office in Roxbury in Highland Park. And we started a conversation that ended up with lots of people getting jobs, more people going to the school, on and on. Now, I didn't know any of them while I was there. All this
Right.
happened after. And on the golf course, I played with the vice president and treasurer, and got a contract for $50,000.
What?
Yep.
What? Wow. That's a good story.
But turns out, he liked me. We connected. So did the president. But I didn't know him at the time. It would have been really helpful while I was there as a
Right.
student.
Right.
But it worked out.
Wow. Well, what happened there was did you change courses? Did you get a better course or something?
No, I mean it was like running the business. You got to pay people and go on, and it was very helpful for the corporation, and we did good and bad things, in terms of the resources. But that was just one of them, and you had to keep getting contracts to stay alive.
Right. Right. Well, you certainly got one. You
Yeah.
certainly got a good one from the golf course, no
Oh
less.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's
And
great.
I tried to, Mama Janet is a corporate person. She
Mhm.
worked as a corporate person at the telephone company. There've been many different names. But when she started, I think it was New England Telephone.
Mama Janet is his
It's
wife.
now 9X. Oh, you know about that. You worked for some of that. Hey, come on now.
I
You
work
did
for where?
for the New England Telephone. I don't think it was New England
Oh
then.
yeah. Wait a minute.
It wasn't New England then, but they had 5 different names. Right now, it's 9X.
Yes.
One
Yes. Wow.
of your summer jobs, and then you got intern thing.
Right. Internship.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. I was writing the internal no the internal newsletter
yeah.
for the
And you got a
yeah.
job offer that you declined because you would have been supervising people older than you.
Really.
Yep.
Well, that sounds like a good decision to me, honestly.
But the point here is, you know, being in corporate America, they do seminars, they do conferences, and they do work study things. But the point is, groups of them get together and go away, or connect, do a group within the place. But normally they go away, and two things happen after work, or in addition to work: golf and shopping. Mama Janet
Oh,
was a shopper. I said, no, you ought to be a golfer. I mean, good things happen on the golf course. And
right.
guess what? She kept being a shopper until she lost a client on the golf course. She
Oh
said, son,
no.
honey, you were right. I'm going to become a golfer.
Right. Yeah.
That's business.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
done in the offices and in the places where you do work, but it's also done elsewhere. Golf course, playing cards, whatever.
Right.
Concerts. Hey, Life doesn't
Right.
stop at one place.
Yeah. Right. Well, all right. Well, let's say hi to Mama Janet. Hey, Mama Janet, and thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next week to talk about more things. More things. Who knows what we talk about? Well, you guys stay tuned and watch us. Anything you want to say, Pop?
Have a great week.
Have a great week, folks. We'll see you later.
Ciao.